Hetepu and Namaste. Assalamu alaikum. This is Kasank Ma Keparu with another broadcast for you. And today I want to talk about how to become an elder or honored ancestor. So I want to warn you that this broadcast is going to be full of profanity. And that's right, because I'm about to go off on some people. So yes, Kasank every now and then will let loose, because Haruka Hudi rides with me. If you don't know who Haruka Hudi is, do your research. Ma'at sets the law, and if the law is broken, she sends out Haruka Hudi, God of war, God of justice, who is in charge with bringing balance back, not to go out there and to do revenge or that type of thing, or do any type of weird extreme justice, but just to bring balance and order back to things, and he was used in Kemet a number of times. So it's important that we understand that, sorry, my voice is like very dry, that one cannot go around always in a state of perpetual peace. Oh, just peace. No, one has to allow oneself to be whatever deity is needed for that particular time. Sometimes I can be very Heteru. Sometimes I can be very Sekert. Sometimes I can be Tahuti. Sometimes I can be Haru or Horus. And other times, if necessary, I can be Haruka Huti, very aggressive, assertive, depending on what the situation calls for. I think that when you are seeing these so-called gurus and they come off as I had these, and you see that kind of attitude 24/7, I think that's a con. There's something wrong there, because you literally can't be at a min all the time, because things will come to disrupt your peace. And that's what it's there for, because life is meant to challenge you so you can flex your spiritual muscle. Earth, Geb, is there to present challenges so that you can spiritually grow. There's no way in the world you should be walking around at total peace. If you do that, you're dead. Hence is the symbol of Osir or Osiris, who is mummified. You see him as the mummy with the crook and the flail, just totally still. And that is a symbol of Men Abed Alkan Ma'at. Men Abed Alkan Ma'at, meaning you're keeping your heart still to live truth. And he's a mummy, he's been mummified. Okay? But he's dead. So you can't do that, But your goal is to strive to keep your heart still. So when the judgment comes and you go before Osiris or Osir, and you're going for the weighing of the scales before Ma'at, that you can recite the 42 negative confessions, But anyway, I digress. So again, if you have children, please be careful. There's going to be some profanity here. But anyway, I live in a co-op, right? It's a very secure grounds here. And time and time again, I order food and they'll deliver it, but they can't come into the building. Security will stop them. Hell, security stops me sometimes, and they'll be like, who are you? Where are you? Oh, Kasank, how are you? Sorry. And, so, I ordered some food, and security stopped them and called me and said, there's people down here who says they have food for you. I said, oh, yeah, I'll be down there. So, I grabbed my keys, went down there, and then I got to the door, opened the door, and there was a woman. I think she had like a cane or something to help her walk. And I went out into the lobby there, and there was a guy with my food. So I paid him, I tipped him, and I took my food, and I went back into the building, the lobby area, and I was walking to the elevator, and I saw another security guard. I just said hi. And then I heard the woman say, excuse me. And I turned around, and it was the woman in the cane and another woman next to her. And she said, could you come here for a second? And I was like, it just seemed like, it's suspicious. So I said, what do you want? And she goes, oh, could you come here for a second, right? I said, okay. So I walked up to her. She's an older woman. Both of them were older women, right? And again, there's one that was like with the walker, and then there was this woman who was like, just come here for a second. So I said, yes, can I help you? I walked into her, I said, yes, can I help you? She says, I need to teach you some manners, because when you came out that door, this woman was waiting right there, and you didn't hold the door for her. You just went to get your food and left. And you know what? You need to learn some damn manners. So I was like, okay. And then suddenly Haruka Hudi erupted. I said, let me tell you something. You don't ever think that you can teach me about manners. And this is a secure building. If she needs to get in, she should be talking to security, who has to actually call up to find out who she's visiting or register her in, then buzz her, and then open the door for her. It has nothing to do with me. She says, "No, you need to have manners, and you need to hold the door for her." I said, "Listen, you don't need to tell me anything. You need to shut the hell up." And then the security guy came out. Apparently, I think he knew what was up, that she was some old hag, and he was like, "Don't bother with her. Don't bother with her. Just keep walking." So I was like, all right. So I started walking, and then I got onto the elevator, and she was starting to walk away, and I heard her call me an asshole. So as the elevator door closed, I put my hand out. I said, "Oh, it's on." So I opened the elevator door. I said, "What did you say, bitch? What did you say?" And I yelled that out, but she was already gone. So I just said, "You know what? Okay, never mind." Got back on the elevator and came up. Now, 1,000 pardons. Excuse me. I'm so sorry for all the profanity, right? Let me explain something so you guys can put all this in context, okay? For one thing, women need to know how to talk to men. All right, that's the first thing. All right, women don't need to be calling, basically talking to men in any way they think they can. But this society fosters that type of stupid behavior. You know what I mean? Because women think they can get away with doing that, and in some communities, a man will knock you out. So be careful, ladies. No, I would never do that. But the point is, what I'm saying is that. Where I was raised and where I grew up with, which was a lot of depravity and a lot of ratchetness, okay? My mother and father, because they're where we grew up, we were coming off the heels of Jim Crow laws and racism and segregation. So there was a lot of poverty and not enough jobs. So as a recourse, they had things like the numbers. We had the number lady or number guy, and then they had things like what they call was pity pat. And for those of you who don't know, it is that every week they would have a card game at somebody's house, and this was a way of them gambling, and people would win and raise money, get money, so they could pay their rent or whatever. But ultimately, it was full of basically degenerates. So you would walk into these pity pat parties, and they would make like a coleslaw or a potato salad, but it was full of smoke because everybody smoked, and there was alcohol everywhere. And I remember going there and could hardly breathe, because the smoke was so thick. And these little kids would go up to their mothers, and there's mostly older women who were very mean and cranky, because most times they lost. And these little kids would go up to their mother. I remember this one incident in particular, said, "I'm hungry," and their mothers were yelling at them, just went off on them, and saying how, "Oh, I'm winning, shut up, just sit down, I'll feed you when I get around to it." And it was just so sad to see that. But the thing that came out of that was my mother really wised up quickly and disassociated herself from those type of women and those type of environments. Because she knew it was just a bunch of degenerate people. So what I'm saying is, this woman that was calling herself trying to teach me about manners, I see her as exactly part of that type of crowd. And the thing is like, I'm not going to get into the fact, as I said before, and I reiterate, that this is a co-op and you have to be signed in, or they have to call up to find out who you're visiting. I've never seen this woman before. So I'm not going to let anybody into this secure little place, because, as you know, I'm talking about some very sensitive stuff like conspiracy theory stuff, and I'm like, maybe I got to watch what's going on. But I'm a person who spent the majority of my life studying ancient cultures, studying rituals, studying the right way to live. And I try not to just study, but I try to live by that. So I understand our ancestors, how they wanted us to live. I understand the rituals and traditions. This old damn hag who calls herself, criticizing me, knows nothing about African culture, knows nothing about Greek and Roman culture, knows nothing about traditions and customs of the ancient ways of life that could save the world today. She doesn't know jack shit. And for her to try to tell me about manners, she can kiss my ass. Because you see, while some of us are out there fighting, trying to save this world, people like her aren't doing shit but criticizing and living off of EBT cards and welfare and shit. You see, I don't get an opportunity to live off things like that. I had to study programming. I had to go to school and college and study and pay for that out of my pocket. And I remember a time when there was a library where I had to go and study and get books on Africa and research this stuff because there wasn't a thing called the internet where you can find this information. And there were no magicians out there who I could go into work as an apprenticeship under. I had to read from occult books that were hard to find. I didn't know that when you came into your house, or when you moved into your house, the first thing you had to do was have a house cleansing to rid of negative spirits. And that at the door, you had to create an altar to Anubis, to Sebek, so he can open the way and allow good energy into your house. I didn't know you have to have a shrine to your ancestors so you know your lineage and you pay tribute to your ancestors. You know, I didn't know in your family you had to have the eldest son had to have a certain rules and responsibilities, and the youngest son had to have a certain rules and responsibility as well. And that a man had to have a certain roles in the family and a certain way of conducting himself to his wife, to his mate, that he couldn't talk out of his tongue to her. And then she in turn had to act with a certain amount of decorum around him. I learned these things on my own. You understand? So when somebody proceeds to try and tell me about manners and culture, they're out of their damn minds, because they're part of the problem. Because you know what? The majority of women have failed to pass on to their children a culture. The whole Kemetic mythology or story of Asar Set is about Aset passing on to Haru the culture of Kemet, the whole culture of Kemet, a way of life, so that he will grow up and avenge his father's death. Osiris. How many women that are in a non-spiritual culture can say that they have passed on to their children ancient names? How many women can say that their daughters are called Aphrodite? I'll wait. How many women can say that their daughters are called Hatshepsut? I'll wait. How many women can say their daughters are called Aset? Do you understand what I'm saying? How many women can say that they get together with their family and do a meditation and pour libations to the gods or to ancestors? Do you see what I'm saying? Because if you don't do these things, do you know who's going to get your kids? Puff Daddy, 50 cents. You know, Colin Kaepernick, Kardashians, and that tranny, what's his name? One of the Kardashians. See, that all that popular stuff is going to absorb your child's mind if you don't put the right culture or programming within them. If you don't teach your sons about Harukuhuti and the battle at Ben-Hutet, and that Harukuhuti is the enforcer arm of Ma'at, you know what your children are going to learn about? Football, baseball, Cardi B, you know, Little Kim. They're going to learn about nonsense. If a man does not go out there and build an empire for his family, a man has failed. He has failed. Because in ancient traditions, family was important. It was the measure of how well you would do as a future king. A man was his job was to build. A woman's job was to create the moral foundations and the culture that would be the foundation to hold together the empire that the man built. And they both had to work hand in hand, and they both were necessary. And without one, the other would fall apart. And this older generation has failed us. This older generation has totally dropped the ball, because the mere fact that there still exists the Illuminati, there still exists racism, there still exists sexism, tells you that they did not do anything to fix the problem, because they were having pity pat parties. They were playing numbers. They were more concerned about the trivial advancements, such as, oh, you know what, I gotta get me a nice Cadillac, you know? And the women were like, oh, I gotta get this nice sofa. Then looking at the bigger picture and making sure that the world will be better tomorrow for the kids. So that older generation of old men and women that are out there, you're asking me if they deserve any level of respect? I'm sorry if I use profanity. I don't want to, lower myself to doing that. But they are not honored ancestors. They're not elders that we should be following. They are not. And they know they have done wrong. They know they have dropped the ball. I go out there every day and I mentor the younger kids. I can tell you there are kids out there 21 years old, 25 years old. I give them advice on a daily basis. Because they don't have people, they don't have fathers, they don't have, well, if they do have fathers, their fathers are clueless. They don't have people out there showing them the way, explaining to them why the world is so damn messed up. No one explained it to me. I had to figure it all out. And I'm glad to help them. I don't get paid for it. Maybe when I pass on and go to the inner planes, I'll become a Shepsu, an honored ancestor. That's when I'll get my payment. And that's good enough. But for right now, I'm just trying to ascend. I'm trying to go from a Sahu level to a God-man status. And you should be trying to go from Sahu to God-woman status or God-man status. Because in doing so, you kill two birds with one stone. As you raise your energy vibration resonates and affects everybody in your immediate area. So they see the light emanating from you and they say, what's going on? I want a piece of that. And their vibration starts to rise because they see the change in you. 49th hexagram of the I-Ching Oracle, Revolution, says you do not have to tell anybody about it because, you don't have to go to the Oracle because the people, like a tiger skin that changes its stripes, people will see it. That's what the I-Ching says. People will see it. So begin on this journey to become an elder or honored ancestor or Shepsu. But for now, these old people out there have failed us, and they know they have. And society has failed them too, because we don't value the wisdom of those who are older and have gone before us. We don't value older people. We make fun of them. We mock them. We think it's funny that they're old. But in ancient cultures, we never did that. The older people were wise. Confucius, Buddha, Imhotep. They were wise. But in this society, they made fun of. Anyway, guys, please think about that. I've said enough. Anyway, just to let you know, we started a Patreon campaign, and just for $1, you can contribute. So please, if you can, donate $1, and for that dollar, we'll give you, I'll give you a shout out. And then there's different levels that you can go to. There's $5, $10 level, and we got some really good giveaways for those $5 and $10 levels. But like I said, if you want to just contribute $1, you can do that. That would be helpful because I want to produce some new ebooks. The Osiris Report ebook is doing really well. A lot of people are downloading that. It's free, of course. But I'm going to come out with a new expanded version, and that's going to be awesome with some new information. So look out for that in January 2018. So again, the link to the Patreon campaign where you can just donate $1 is at the bottom here. And if you like this video, hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you're a first-time viewer. And also share this video with friends and family. Let's get the word out and start the revolution. And until the next broadcast, this is Kasant Ma'akeparu, future ancestor, Shepsu, elder. I'll see you in the next broadcast. Amun Ra.